Hello and welcome to Art with Mr. P. This week we're painting. Big connection to science in painting. In art we look at how colours mix and how light behaves, and we actually do that in science as well. So we're getting 2 lessons for the price of 1 here. Now remember, these lessons are just starting points. If you can take these lessons further by doing your own things as well, even better and much more exciting. Now I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of wax resist this week. So you're going to need something that resists water. So wax crayons or wax pastels are perfect. You can use a bit of old candle here if that's what you have at home. We'll be looking at primary colours again, but anyway, enough from me. Let's do it. So I've started off by cutting out some fishy shapes out of some fairly thin, lightweight card. If you need someone, an adult maybe, to trace that out for you, that's fine. So I've drawn some fish on some card and cut them out. And what I'm going to do is organise these fish on the page. I think I'm going to put them, I'm going to make them look like they're swimming in from this side, I think. Something like that. Then I put a piece of paper over the top, remembering where the fish are, and I find myself a wax crayon or pastel. And what I want to do is use the side, not the end. I want to use the side of the wax crayon, and I'm just rubbing it around where the fish are, so I get a kind of bit of an outline. Yeah? So if you can just make out a bit of a fish there. And there's one over here. So I'm pressing quite hard. But remember, I'm using the side of the wax crayon or wax pastel. So the card underneath is helping to create an edge to the fish, yeah. See, I'm checking to see where the fish is. Okay, so I'm pressing on here. Trying to follow the card, yeah. Because I only really want to put the wax. Now you could use a bit of an old candle actually, where the fish are. Now, just to make sure that I can see those, I'm going to go off and find another colour. I think red will do nicely. I'm going to put the eyes in. I'm just making sure that we can see the outline by just putting a little bit of line on there. Like that. Oh, mustn't forget the eye. Don't want anyone left out. There we go. And the same on this one. So I'm just going round the edge, just to make the edge a bit more obvious. Okay. So you can see that these marks that have come out almost by accident look a little bit like movement marks. Right, I'm putting the wax crayons to one side, and I'm going to get up the paint again. Now what I'd like to do is lots and lots of water, is get some of this blue paint going here. You've got to make sure you've got enough water in the paint, and I'm going to paint over my fish. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're okay there. I'm going over here. I'm not going to go right over all the fish. Oh, a bit too much there. Now, if you find that you've got too much on there, get a paper towel and just soak up the paint a bit. Yeah? I only want very watery paint on here. So I'm not going over the whole fish. Far too much paint, not enough water in that one. So you've got to really keep this, you've got to keep this colour under control, yeah? And like I said, oh, let's get rid of that, because quite tricky. Right, if you think there's too much colour in there, get your paper towel. So the paper towel's a bit like a rubber here. So what I'm hoping is that you can see in this wax resist process, yeah, that the paint doesn't stick to the wax. Like that. Now I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in here, and blue and yellow, make green, and we're going to put some green down here just to make the background watery colour a little bit more interesting. Something like that. Now I think that there's too much paint just here, so I put water on the brush and I go back and I can dilute that paint and then use my paper towel to soak it up. Now I would like to put a little bit of orange, but remember it's got to be watery here. That's turning into a bit of a brown, but never mind. Just going to put this on here, just to give the fish a bit more solidity, yeah, just to make them look a little bit more real. Okay, it's a bit like a shadow, isn't it? Now, if I think it's too much, I can use my paper towel and mop it down a bit. Now, I would quite like the eyes to be a little bit more obvious, yep. So I'm going to get the blue, and I'm just going to go around the eye, just a little bit. Now, I think that's starting to get a little bit too obvious. So I'm going to get my paper towel and just mop it slightly. And what I'd like to do also is to get some little bit of white paint. Making sure that my brush is absolutely clean. I haven't put any water in this. And I'm just going to put a little bit of white where the eye is. Okay, very subtle. And there it is. So what we've done is we have cut out, oh look at that. We have cut out some fish shapes, very thin card. We've laid some paper over the top of it. We've used our wax crayons or wax pastels to go over it. But you could just draw the fish on, of course, yeah. And then we've used very watered down paint and we've created the background, added a little bit of shadow to the fish and then highlights in the eyes. Where the paint hasn't stuck to the paper because it's got wax on there, we call that wax resist. Very good. Well, in terms of visual elements, we've really looked at colour, line, shape this week. But in painting, we're primarily usually interested in colour. Next week, we're going to revisit collage again. And I'll see you then.